Hey everyone, it's Smitha. Today I am going to be talking all about Mob Beauty, and I've been wanting to do this for quite some time, and they told me that they are going to be running a bit of a promotion where you can use a code and save 15%. It is going to be running up until at least April 1st. So I'm going to put my code up on the screen. I've done quite a bit of other content on Mob Beauty, including a deep dive into all of their capsule palettes, their capsule eyeshadow palettes. And so I will also link that in the cards in case you are curious about those. But I'm going to show you how I created this look and talk specifically about all of the different products that I've tried from the brand, including some overhead swatches and some demos with some of the products, and then this look at the end. Let's go ahead and get into it. I have been using Mob Beauty quite a bit for the past couple of years, and I've tried, I want to say, almost everything. I have mostly hits when it comes to my experience with the brand. And yeah, I just feel like I'll be able to give you some good insight because I have been pretty consistently using them for the past couple of years. I have received a lot of these products in PR, but I was a customer first, and I just think that they have really created something special with their brand. I love their mission, and they really do make an effort to be environmentally conscious, and I really do appreciate that. I also just feel like they are doing something different when it comes to a lot of the formulas in their collection, so I really appreciate that. And as someone who particularly loves alternative shades, I love that they have incorporated a lot of fun colors into their lineup. All right, I feel like one of the products that Mob Beauty is most well known for is the cream clay shadows, so of course I have to talk about these. This is probably the most polarizing product from the brand. I say that because I feel like you either love these or you hate them. I feel like there's not a lot of in between. I honestly do really enjoy these, and I feel like they are the product that drew me in to trying the brand. And I say that because, these are very creamy eyeshadows. They blend like a dream. I really like to use them in conjunction with powder shadows or as bases for shimmer powder eyeshadows. If you try this formula, I recommend trying one or two, not picking up a bunch, just to see how you like them. And you can wear them as blushes. I actually love doing that, and you can also use them on the lips. So there are some other uses for the cream clay shadows. This second product that I'm swatching is one of the suspended sparkle balm. It comes in a bunch of different shades at this point. This is the green one, so it's basically sheer green sparkle suspended in a clear balm. I really like these. I think they're playful, and I like topping them over all of the different eye products that I'm showing. Now I'm showing the palette from Miss Megan Robinson because in here you have some powder shimmer shadows. This is actually one of my favorite powder shimmers from the brand. As you can see, this is a very buildable formula. You can get a very pretty sheen with it. You don't get a lot of shades that have crazy shifts like some of the indie shadows that I show, but they are really pretty, and Mob is definitely stepping up the formula of these. So if the cream shadows aren't your jam, I do feel like these powder shadows are worth your time to check out. They're very user-friendly. You don't really get fallout with them, and they're just very buildable. I also just really like that the capsule palettes are done with pretty much all different creators. You can also get these as single shadows though and build your own palette if you'd like. They do have sales on build your own palettes from time to time, like I want to say several times a year. So if you have your eye on making your own palette, I would definitely keep your eye out for those deals because they are pretty good sales. Like I want to say 25 to even up to 30% off. The palette that I'm dipping into right now is Trad Goth. This was done in collaboration with Jessica Hayes. This also has one of my favorite shimmers. This is Milky Way. It's a beautiful gunmetal duochrome. And the black shadow in here is super pigmented, but again, really buildable, so very user-friendly. Okay, the last eyeshadow product that I'm going to talk about from Mob Beauty is these liquid shadows that came out within the past month. I believe that these come in 4 different shades. I have the deepest of the 4. This is called Chocolate, and you need the smallest amount. You can totally blend them out with your finger. I typically like to maybe spread the product with my finger and then go in with a brush. But I do use this in my look, so you're going to see it in application in real time. So Mob Beauty, I feel like, does lip products extremely well. And I feel like I've heard mostly positive things from other people as well. Their gloss formula really is one of my favorites, like, ever. These aren't sticky. They feel incredibly hydrating on the lips. They basically feel like they're hugging your lips, and they don't come off super quick, so you do get a decent wear with them. I also love that they have some sparkly shades and then some super opaque shades. This opaque shade that I'm swatching right now is one of my favorites. This is Linger. It was done in collaboration with Courtney Quarantine, and again, I'm just blown away with this formula because they just came out with it last year. The main complaint that I've heard from people is the packaging because it does require some finesse, but I'll show you that in real time. All right, let me talk about some of the other lip formulas from Mob Beauty. They have lip balms, matte lipsticks, and frost lipsticks. So this first one that I'm swatching is a lip balm. This is fully opaque. This was done with Jessica Hayes as part of the Southern Goth. I really like this formula, but it's not going to be super long wearing. It's a lip balm. But if you're looking for a good, fully pigmented lip balm, these are a good option. Now, the ones that I'm swatching right now are their matte lipsticks. And it's interesting because I actually don't feel like they feel matte at all on the lips. I would almost describe them as somewhere between a satin and a cream lipstick. But again, they come in some super unique shades and they feel very comfortable. The next formula that I'm swatching is the Frost lipstick. It comes in 4 different shades. I actually made one myself called Moonchild. I believe my shade is currently out of stock. Okay, in terms of complexion, I believe that this is the only complexion product that Mob Beauty has, and it's their Blurring Ceramide Foundation. Basically, this is like a stick foundation, a balm foundation, but it comes in this little square pan so that you can use it in their modular system. And this is the shade Olive 80, which is a perfect match for me. I will talk all about this foundation in my demo. Okay, next product we have is their Hyaluronic Highlight Balm. And this is basically a cream highlight that, in my opinion, is very natural. I really don't see sparkle when I apply this on the cheeks. This is the kind of highlight I absolutely love for a day-to-day basis when I want to look glowy without looking like I'm visibly wearing a highlighter. Next, we have their Cream Clay Blush formula, and this I feel like is not a formula that I've heard to be very polarizing. I've heard this works for a lot of people, myself included. So all of those properties that were there when it came to the cream clay shadow are there with this formula as well in terms of how blendable it is. You can see that even though this is a bright red blush, this is very controllable and customizable in terms of the pigmentation. You can totally build it up, but you can also just apply a sort of sheer layer. It has a matte finish on the skin and it wears super beautifully throughout the day. It's not the type of formula that I feel like promotes kind of dewiness of the skin. If you become dewier like I do, it won't actively promote that. Okay, next we have the Mob Beauty mascaras, and for the longest time Mob only had a black mascara. They actually recently came out with this beautiful burgundy shade. Again, I'm going to use this one in my look. This is just a good old regular mascara. It's not tubing. It gives a good amount of volume and length. I don't get quite as much length from it as I do from my tubing mascara, but honestly, it's pretty good. It lasts well. You don't get any flaking whatsoever. So I would say it's a pretty solid, good mascara. Okay, last product I'm going to talk about is their setting powder. This is the medium translucent shade. I think it's a great formula.
The only thing is that this packaging is not travel friendly. This is something that has to sit on my desk at home to use.
All right, now I'm going to do a full face of makeup using mostly Mob Beauty products with a specific focus on more of the products that I haven't talked that much about up to this point. I'm going to do a wear test with the foundation as well. I haven't used the foundation all that much, and I've really been wanting to, and what I like about it is that they have olive undertones. This is the shade Olive 80, which I have used before and I feel like is a really good shade match for me. I mean, you can barely see where I've applied that. I have prepped my skin, moisturized, SPF, and I used some of the Danessa Myricks balm powder just in my T-zone, but it is the hottest day of the year up to this point. So I am definitely going to be using the Mob Beauty powder, but I'm basically just taking a bunch of the product and applying it on different areas of my face, and then I'm going to use a brush to blend it in. All right, now I'm going to take this brush from Refer. This is the LC2 brush. It's really good for liquids and cream products. And I'm just going to blend that in. Now, Mob Beauty does not have a concealer, so I'm going to be using my own concealer. I would say that this is giving me a nice medium coverage. All right, and here's what the foundation looks like all blended in. I would say this is a really beautiful medium to fuller coverage foundation, and it has what I would consider to be a natural finish. And now I'm going to take a little bit of the Maxine's Revenge concealer. This has been my favorite concealer as of late, and this is the shade Medium Sand, which is a little bit lighter than my foundation shade, just so I can have a little bit of a brightening effect and maybe just cover up a couple of spots where I have kind of dark spots peeking through. But honestly, I feel like you can't really see much because the coverage from the foundation is really good. All right, I've let that sit for a couple of minutes, and now I'm just going to blend that in. All right, skin is definitely skinning. Now I'm going to use a Mob Beauty powder. So this is a loose powder, and let me check. Yeah, this is the shade Medium. They do have different shades of their translucent setting powder, and this is a loose powder, so I just have a little bit in the top. I'm going to just pick up some with my brush and set underneath the eyes. I am going to be pretty generous with my powder today, knowing how hot it is. And then I am going to powder throughout the T-zone. All right, and here is what the skin is looking like after foundation, concealer, and powder. All right, now I'm going to use my favorite blush from Mob Beauty. This was done in collaboration with Monica. She and I actually have pretty much the exact same skin tone. So I knew that if this worked for her, it was going to work for me. And this is the Cream Clay Blush formula. So what's nice about this formula is that it has a very kind of like, I would say it has a matte finish. It blends in super easily. It is pigmented, but it's very forgiving. But it doesn't have a dewy finish on the skin, and it lasts really well. So yes, the Cream Clay Blush formula is definitely up there in my favorites from the brand. They just do them so well, and I honestly haven't met anyone that didn't enjoy this blush formula, if I'm honest. All right, and here is what Crimson Crush looks like fully applied. I definitely could have gone in with a heavier hand, but I like where we're at. And I feel like that gave me a kind of really nice blush, but I don't feel like it's too overboard. Next, we're going to go in with another product that a lot of people really love, myself included. This is their Hyaluronic Cream Highlight Formula. And this is the shade M97. So basically the rose gold one. And again, I really like to apply this with my fingertip. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the tops of the cheekbones. I feel like I like to go overboard with highlight, but I'm going to try to rein it in. And here's what it looks like fully applied. Hopefully you can see on camera how beautiful of a sheen it gives. It doesn't have any sparkle, it's just pure glow. All right, for my lip liner, I am going to use the Izamaya lip liner in Coffee. Now, Ma Beauty has some beautiful lip liners. I can't find the deepest one from them. My main qualm is that I really do wish that they had even deeper shades. They do have a gorgeous red shade that they did in combo with Monica as well, and a kind of like what I would say somewhere between a mid-tone to deeper brown. But I would love to see an even deeper brown. And you know, Ma Beauty has so many great lip products, it's almost hard to choose. I think I'm gonna go in with this gloss that was done in collaboration with Courtney Quarantine. It's kind of like a taupey shade, but you know, I just really like it. I like the depth, I like the tones, incredibly unique. And here is what the shade Linger looks like fully applied. Okay, now for my eyeshadow look, I am going to use, this is one of the new liquid shadows. I've actually used this quite a number of times. I think I've even used it on camera for a YouTube video, but I absolutely love it. It's the shade Chocolate. Now, the only thing is that there's not too many shades out right now, but this is a beautiful formula and I could definitely see them expanding this range because, like I said, I just think that these perform really well. They last really well and they're just very user-friendly. And this is a very pigmented formula. I'm just going to take the smallest dot on the lower lash line and blend that out. All right, and here is what things are looking like after applying the liquid shadow to both eyes. I love how easy this formula is to use. I would love to see some colorful shades as well. Can you imagine a cobalt blue? And you know that I have to add some sparkle. I'm going to be using the green suspended sparkle balm from the Southern Goth collection. And I think I'm just going to apply that with my finger and blend it in with a brush just on the innermost portion of the lid. I am finding that this is layering really well over top. I like using the liquid shadows as bases for various shimmers, including this suspended sparkle balm formula. And then I'm just going to add a little bit to the brow bone and to the inner corner. All right, and the final mauve product I'm going to use for this look is the Burgundy Mascara. This came out, I want to say, within the past several months, and it was done in collaboration with Jessica Hayes. All right, I do think that Burgundy kind of complemented this look well, especially with some of the grungier tones. And now I am going to set my look with this kind of mattifying setting spray from Danessa Myricks. All right, and here is the finished look. I am going to be back after 7 to 8 hours and show you how everything wore. All right, I am back. I have had my makeup on for 7 hours without any touch-ups, with the exception of the lip gloss Linger. This was the collab shade with Courtney Quarantine as part of the Reverie collection. I have to say I am really happy with how this makeup has worn. First of all, I need to use this foundation more often because this is a beautiful coverage. And yes, my oils have come through. It's the hottest day of the year where I live. So obviously my skin is having some adjustments to that, and I tend to get oily in my T-zone as it is. But let's take a closer look at each of the products. So I started off my base with the foundation. I feel like I still have a really nice coverage. I was very happy with how the shade match went and with how this wore and the amount of coverage I got. This is definitely like what I would consider to be a medium to full coverage foundation. And then I really did want to show you how the eyeshadow is worn because I've been using this eyeshadow quite a bit. I wanted to, I know that I've had a few people tell me they are interested in trying the liquid eyeshadow, and this is a beautiful formula, beautiful wear. So really happy with, the way that it still looks on my lids after about 7 hours or so, and I've worn it for even much longer than that. I have the Suspended Sparkle Balm from the Southern Goth collection on my lids, and I still think it looks nice. In terms of the texture, it doesn't fully set down, but it didn't disrupt the base at all, so I still think it looks quite nice. You don't see glitter under my eyes. You still see a good amount of sparkle on the lids. So, I'm really happy with how the Sparkle Balm has performed as well. I feel like that is a product that is going to be polarizing. Some people will get on with it, and then other people I feel like will be like, what's the point? I would rather just have a shimmery eyeshadow, and I understand that, but I like the fact that you can just add it to, on top of whatever you're using just for a little bit of sparkle. I also like that it comes in different shades. The green and the one in Megan Robinson's collection are my favorite. The one in Megan's collection is actually a cool tone sparkle, and that is definitely my favorite. And then in terms of the blush, I think that it also has worn really nicely. You can still see it there, and it hasn't faded in any kind of weird way. I can't say that, I appreciate a lot of highlight still there, but I feel like it is, and it just kind of blended into my skin. And then in terms of the mascara, I like it. I am just not sure I love it. It's not my absolute favorite mascara. The one that I've been going to a lot recently is the one from Tower 28. I feel like I get even more lift from it. But honestly, I feel like this is one of the best mascaras that I've tried that is not a tubing mascara. And I like that it comes in all these different shades, or a few different shades, and I feel like they're going to expand that range even more, and a good colorful mascara is definitely hard to come by. All right, and last but not least, the lip glosses. I think I've mentioned this in a few other videos, but the lip glosses from Mob Beauty to me are truly standout. I feel like the formula just feels so incredibly comfortable. I also just like that they come in some really cool shades. Honestly, just have nothing but good things to say about this formula. I ranked it as my #1 from 2025 in terms of the new gloss formulas that I tried. The only thing that I will say is that this packaging is polarizing. It's not for everyone. If you are new to trying it and you're like, what do I do to keep the inner tubing from popping out? Just squeeze it and pull on it. I honestly, since I learned that, have not had any issues. And I think this formula is so good that I'm willing to overlook that. All right, and the powder. I forgot to mention the powder. I am probably not the best person to rank powders, but I think that this is one of the better loose powders that I have tried. It did a really nice job of keeping my makeup or my base set and in place throughout the day. Of course, my oils came through, but that has happened to a much greater extent with other powders, so I feel like the performance of this powder has been quite nice. All right, I know we covered a lot of ground in this video, but I would love to hear what you think of the products I tested out. If you've tried any products from Mob Beauty, what your favorites are, or what products are on your wish list to try sometime down the line. As always, I really hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.